This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the 2023 LG Gram 17 Pro. That's what they're calling the one that has a dedicated GPU inside, which is lovely to see and almost unexpected. Okay, they did this 1 year previously as well, because this is one of the thinnest and lightest, ultrabooky sort of laptops on the planet. It's 3.2 pounds, which is 1.45 kilograms. So for a 17-inch laptop with NVIDIA RTX graphics, that's pretty impressive. We're going to look at it now. So the 2023 Gram has an Intel 13th generation P series processor. That's a 28-watt processor. It's the more powerful version of the Ultrabook CPU. Not the same thing you'd find in like a Dell XPS 17, for example, or Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Extreme, which is a 45-watt plus processor. So that's a bit of an in-betweener. And then we have the dedicated graphics that I mentioned, which don't get too excited, but kind of get excited. It's NVIDIA RTX 3050 graphics, 4 GB, which is standard for that. So better than nothing, certainly. That's the beginning entry level for a gaming laptop, for example, or for a performance laptop. But it's last generation, not a 4050, it's a 3050. Maybe they were trying to keep prices down, because Grams used to be wildly expensive, and finally they're priced more appropriately in the last couple of years. But there's that. And it's a 45-watt GPU. So certainly better than integrated graphics, and enough to get you having a more enjoyable time in Fortnite, or even playing Apex Legends at full HD and medium settings. But don't expect to be doing Cyberpunk or Atomic Hearts or something like that. This is in no way a gaming laptop, especially because you have the 28-watt CPU inside. So it's that interesting tweener, and I'd love to hear in the comments what you think about that. Is there a place for this? But the captivating part is still the weight at 3.2 pounds and 1.45 kilograms. That's a lot of performance, relatively speaking, and it makes a Dell XPS 17 or even a 16-inch MacBook Pro seem downright heavy. So for those of you who are on the go all the time but want to do some Photoshop, have a little acceleration in Lightroom, or do some of that occasional online gaming, that sort of stuff, well, then perhaps it does have a spot. Price starts at $2,000, and there's a $2,300 configuration that just gets you more RAM and a bigger SSD. The base model has 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD, and the more expensive configuration gets you 32 gigs of RAM and a 2 terabyte SSD, which are set up, I believe, as two 1 terabyte SSDs. So other than that, you're going to get the same Intel Core i7 processor, 13th gen, the same NVIDIA graphics, and a lovely QHD plus 16:10 aspect ratio, 144 Hertz variable refresh display. You can go from 31 all the way to 144 Hertz, so that's nice for power saving. Slow down when you don't need it, speed up if you do, right? So as ever, LG does a beautiful job with the Grams. I mean, their content consumption delights. The display is P3, and it's bright and colorful and reasonably okay color accurate. You can calibrate it better if you are doing something that's mission critical for color work, but out of the box, it's going to please people. Likewise, the 2 speakers that it has on board, 2 watt with Smart Amp and Dolby Atmos, push above certainly their weight here. They sound very good. There's actually some bass, and you could actually enjoy watching a movie without putting on some headphones. Speaking of headphones, yes, there is a headphone jack and other ports too, which is nice. We have HDMI, we have 2 USB-As, we have 2 Thunderbolt 4 USB-C ports. One will be used by the charger. So you're not like, oh my God, I don't have any ports. And in case you are a content creator, there is a micro SD card slot. So in something this thin and light, again, you look at like the Dell XPS 13 Plus or the 13-inch MacBook Air, and you're like, gosh, only USB-C ports, right? So you don't have that problem here. So it continues to be a wonderful product in that respect. Keyboard on this is, well, it's black. It's a matte black laptop. Yes, it does show fingerprints. Not as bad as a Razer blade, but it does. White backlighting on it. You can see it just fine. And LG was doing low travel keyboards before everybody did low travel keyboards, because they make such thin and light laptops. And it feels very tactile. I like it, despite the fact that this is a magnesium alloy casing, and some people complain about that because it's a very, very light and premium material, but has some flex. This doesn't flex a lot. I mean, you got to be a brute if you're just like doing this to your laptop all day. And the keyboard deck is fairly rigid. Anyway, the keys are a reasonable amount of travel on them and a nice springy bounce. It's kind of on the firm side, depends on you, whether you like mushy and soft or whether you like firm and bouncy. I like firm and bouncy on a low travel keyboard, so I have a more tactile experience there. The trackpad is large, roomy, works great, nothing much to say about it there. There's a 1080p webcam on board and a Windows Hello IR camera as well. And a capacious 90 watt-hour battery. For a laptop this light and thin, LG always does a good job of this. They fill up a lot of that case with battery. So as you might guess, if you're just doing everyday productivity, surfing the web, streaming, that sort of thing, battery life is going to be stupendous on this, because basically you're talking an Ultrabook with a very low wattage dedicated GPU that only gets called into action if you're doing something that requires it, like games or video editing or photo editing, that sort of thing. So if you set the display brightness at 150 nits, which I find is fine for indoor muted office lighting, you can go about 12 hours with this thing in that light use case. Obviously, if you are doing Lightroom or Photoshop or something more heavy, runtimes will be shorter, but that's nice. It comes with an absurdly small 65-watt phone-style USB-C charger and about a 6-foot cable. By laptop standards, not really that long. But you've got the universality of USB-C, and yeah, 65 watts is enough to actually keep it charging while you're using it, so yay. To get inside, well, there may not be a whole lot you can do in here, but you have to remove the little plastic pieces that are here. Adhesive, not too hard. Use some pointy little pliers or something, push down, pop up. Remove the 2 rubber feet here, again, and held in place with adhesive, just your fingernail or skinny pliers. And then be mindful, there's a screw here, so there's a little piece of plastic over here with adhesive, looks like that. Take that off too, so you can remove all the Phillips head screws and then work your way around the usual plastic clips. Not too difficult to do. Start from the back is easier, and then can remove the cover, magnesium, and here are the internals. Mega battery, 90 watt-hour, yay that for battery life. Big speaker drivers, no wonder it sounds so good. These are interesting looking, aren't they? With a little ribbing thing going on there. So there are those. Here are the 2 M.2 SSD slots, PCIe 4 supporting, and we have our CPU and GPU here with the dual fan setup. Not a Mondo cooling solution, but it's perfectly adequate. This doesn't get hot, this does not get terribly loud. It's adequate for what this machine has. And we have the Intel Wi-Fi card, AX211 Wi-Fi 6E with Bluetooth 5.2, soldered on board over here, and RAM is soldered on. It used to be Graham's had a RAM slot, not anymore. Looks like these would be the RAM chips right there. So that's the LG Gram 17 Pro for 2023, where Pro means the one with the D GPU, the dedicated graphics inside. As ever, Grams are something of a niche product. People who are looking for something stylish, posh, and very light. The prices now, I think, especially given inflation, are reasonably fair for what you're getting. And again, it's the interesting tweener laptop. It's got some oomph. Not many companies are doing this right now, but not a super lot of oomph. Samsung is starting to get into this space because LG and Samsung are always in competition, but certainly it's a different product from the others on the market, like I mentioned, like the XPS 17 and the MacBook. So if you're looking for something super light with a lovely large QHD 16:10 aspect ratio display and a little graphics oomph and a little like gaming kind of thing, well, this would be the thing to look at, certainly by weight, if nothing else. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.